want to start off this moment with two things. First, I want to let y'all look at me, and you're looking at the host of the Lady Nakia Wright show. I'm going to have my own radio show starting every Thursday in April at 8 o'clock p.m.
Chill music.
You won't be every Thursday. I'll be every Thursday, but I'll be pulling on y'all for your wisdom and your strength to join me at the table of Tuesday. Come on now.
Thursday. Welcome to the Lady Nakia Wright show. I am excited. I am ecstatic about coming before you today. It gives me great joy to wish you happy August, the 8th day, the 8th month of the year, which represents new beginnings. I would like to charge each and every one of you, my listeners, today, that if you are listening to the sound of my voice, that you start this month off doing something that you promised yourself you would the first 7 months of this year. I am so excited about new beginnings and a fresh start and the vibrancy that's attached to it. So I charge you that in the 8th month of 2019, go to your dream board, pull off something that you intended to do that you haven't done so yet, and do it. Begin it. It's the 8th month of the year. Forget every disappointment that took place the 7 months of 2019. Give yourself a fresh start. Forget about all self-induced disappointments and begin again. It's a choice. You can make that choice today. I thank you so very much for joining me each and every week at 8 o'clock p.m. I mean, the Lady Nakia Wright show, A Life Reimagined. Our audience is growing. We're becoming a community. We're becoming a village. And I promise you, you are inspiring me to continue on. Thank you so very much. You'll never know the power of support. The Lady Nakia Wright show is a safe place. It's a place where we come to ask questions, to answer questions, to ponder something new, to create new beginnings, and to remain consistent. I believe that we've created a safe place for so many, and this is just the beginning. Again, I invite you to, if you're joining via listenvisionlive.com, we're live, baby. Excuse me, we're live. If you're joining via listenvisionlive.com, welcome. If you're joining via our social media audience, thank you so very much. See what happens when you live? You never know what's going to happen. Invite your friends, invite your family. We have a dynamic show before you this evening. This evening, you've seen her before. She's one of our popular co-hosts, the one and only Mika Woods. She's going to be talking about her I Still Do. She had a phenomenal marriage renewal in Paris, and we get first dibs on what happened behind the scenes. Not only will you find out what happened behind the scenes, you'll also see the power of somebody's I still do. There are so many answers that's going to take place tonight. Invite your friends, invite your family, invite your coworkers. It's going to be amazing. Yes. So it's been 7 days since we've seen each other. What has happened in these past 7 days? I'm actually in the middle of a dynamic conference that my girlfriend Marcy Diane puts together every year. It's called, the organization that puts it together is SMPS. And when I tell you, it has been mind-blowing. When you get the brightest people in the fields of critical thinking, some of the fields we discussed were critical thinking, the power of your influence, and the brain strategy, leadership, the brain power it takes to produce leadership in the 21st century. Those speakers were absolutely dynamic. I came in like a fresh blank board. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew that I wanted to absorb all that was given to me. And when I tell you I walked away so full, I think I filled up like 9 canvas boards. I'm ready to reinvent something new again. And I appreciate, and actually, rather than reinvent something new, because we always spend time trying to create a new moment, I'm actually redefining the moments I currently live in. Some of the things that we discuss is realigning what's important. After highly successful moments, you take the time to absorb the success of your moments. We are so triggered and wired to go to something new, like I just said, that we don't take the time to celebrate our new moments or learn what it was that we could have done better the next time around. So make sure when you have highly successful moments that you take a moment and you celebrate you, because that is it's worthy to be celebrated, and learn from you, learn from your moments. That's what makes them enriching. Another thing that I was reminding of is the power of exposure. Oftentimes we try to hide being exposed. And what I learned, no matter what capacity you serve in life, whether you're a leader, a servant, when you show vulnerability, it doesn't show that you're weak. It shows that you're human. And oftentimes today, people are just looking for a human emotion to attach to follow, to learn, to model from. So listen, this conference is absolutely amazing. Every one of the speakers gave me permission to use their stuff. So y'all, my social media feed is going to be on fire. So if you haven't done so, make sure you follow me on Lady Nakia Wright, because I don't believe in getting information and not sharing it. So it's my heart's desire that weekly I'll share something that I learned from the conference this week. I hope that it blesses your life as much as it blessed mine. And the one thing that I learned that I couldn't wait to call my husband and tell him, baby, if you're watching, hey, honey, I love you. I adore you. You are the bomb. He is the bomb. I got to tell y'all what he did today, too. Let me tell you, he knocked me off my feet today. Woo, I'm so glad that he can still do that. I love this man. So I didn't realize that we have 2 brains. And I don't know if most people know that. I learned something new. I even Googled this man. A neurosurgeon was at the conference, and he said, you have your brain, which sits on the top of your shoulders. We all know about that. But you also have a small brain in your heart. I did not know that. It's worth Googling. Let me tell you something. So you've heard it on this platform. The heart doesn't have a brain. So whatever your heart is feeling, it comes from your brain. Listen, it does have a brain. I stand corrected. Google it. I learned something new today. And if you did not know that, tap me a heart and say, I taught y'all something good today. So listen, follow me on social media. Give us 30 seconds. We're going to take a brief break, and we're going to come back with our co-host for today. Not only do we have Mika Woods, we actually have a member of her tribe, Nicole Coates, and I'm so excited to have her here. I know her name is hyphenated. By the time we come back, I will have that hyphenated name down pat. But Nicole and Mika will be on the platform with me. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Share this with your social media audience. I do believe that this moment will not only offer you laughter, enrichment, but also answers. We'll see you in 30 seconds.
I want to start off this moment with 2 things. First, I want to let y'all look at me, and you're looking at the host of the Lady Nakia Wright show. I'm going to have my own radio show starting every Thursday in April at 8 o'clock p.m.
Chill music.
You won't be every Thursday. I'll be every Thursday, but I'll be pulling on y'all for your wisdom and your strength to join me at the table. Come on now. I want to start off this moment with 2 things. First, I want to let y'all look at me, and you're looking at the host of the Lady Nakia Wright show. I'm going to have my own radio show starting every Thursday in April at 8 o'clock p.m.
Chill music.
You won't be every Thursday. I'll be every Thursday, but I'll be pulling on y'all for your wisdom and your strength to join me at the table. Come on now.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to the Lady Nakia Wright show. Me and my church mother tambourine. Come on. This is the only time I can get this tambourine right, because in church there's too many moving parts. I can't dance, clap, sing, and do the tambourine. So I utilize this moment to perfect my gift. Yes. If you're joining us for the very first time, welcome to the Lady Nakia Wright show, a life reimagined. It is my honor and joy and great excitement to invite you on our journey that takes place every Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Today I have my two co-hosts with me. Yes. Okay, listen. This is the custom of the Lady Nakia Wright show. Okay. When any of us say something really good, you got to ring your bell, Nicole. Okay? This is it. If you're listening, if you're tuning in and you see us ring a bell, that means we just said something that was so good that words couldn't express how we felt, so we just ring the bell. And I actually got that from Dr. Renee Allen show that takes place every Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. She originated the idea, and I said, look, the Bible says nothing new under the sun, so I'm not reinventing nothing. I'm just borrowing her idea. Thank you so very much for joining us. We have to my left Mika Woods. Welcome to the table, Mika. She is one of our infamous co-host that is very popular. Everybody loves her. And a part of her tribe, we have Nicole. What's your name, baby? Nicole Terry. I called you Terry?
Coates Terry.
Nicole Coates Terry. Yes. Thank you for joining us for the very first time. Thank you for having me. Yes, it is an honor. So today, as you know, whenever you see Mika, we're talking about marriage. You know that I am very, 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 very big on marriages, not because I have all of the answers, but because I don't want to get it wrong. So every opportunity I get to talk about it, to learn something new, to share my experiences, I do just that. And baby, if you're watching, just know I am coming home. We have no kids tonight. And listen, I am going to run every red light I can to get home to you. I thought we weren't going to have any kids last night. And so I came in the house like, and my man child was like, you came in the house, mommy, like you was ready to do something real freaky. I was like, I can't, because you cock blocking, boy. So tonight, nobody called my phone, baby. I'm coming home. Mika, I am excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I told everyone that you bust open the doors of what year was this? 20?
Yeah, the 20th.
You bust open the doors of your 20th year anniversary, and you went to the place that's called it's like the most romantic place in the world.
Yeah.
She went to Paris, the city of love. She went to Paris and renewed her vows. And if you're joining via our social media pages, please go listen in via Facebook or go to listenvisionlive.com, because we have pictures of this infamous moment that, let me tell you something, I felt like I was there. So Mika, share with us. Look at this. Look at Mika and her girls in Paris with their skirts on and their jean jackets. What made you decide to do this at the...
Because I always, if everybody's going left, I want to go right. And I know a lot of people celebrate the 25th year is a monumental year. For me, I'm 55. Mm-hmm. So since I turned 40, I've been on this journey of self-discovery, self-love. And part of that self-love embodies me not only loving myself more, but my tribe, my husband, my
Yes.
friends, my family. And I just believe that tomorrow's not promised. So why wait?
That's so good.
Why wait? Why do we have to do what society says? Because nothing about our marriage has been conventional.
Amen.
So we just up and did it.
Yes. So this is what I believe. I believe that they've been married for 20 years, and the person that she married and the person who she is, neither one of them are that person. So in actuality, you guys were actually newlyweds all over again.
Yeah, that's why I selected a different date. So we actually got married Valentine's Day, 1999, in Vegas.
All alone.
All alone. It was nobody. It was just the two of us. And so that's how we spent the first 20 years of our marriage. Just the two of us. Now, a lot of things that we do it as group. So that was important for us to have our friends. I always say friends become family.
Yes.
So, and family over everything, so it was very important for me to have them there. And so we looked at summer months because it was easier to accommodate everybody else's schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And she got married 2 years ago in July.
Yes. Congratulations, Nicole.
The runaway bride is
Yeah.
settled down.
That's why I said tease
What
her
did
and
you
call
say,
her the runaway bride.
The runaway
I used to
bride
call her
has
the runaway
settled
bride.
down. Yes. Come on. Who is he? He's got to be dynamic.
Yes, he's a wonderful man.
Yes. I love that. I am all big for that. I'm here for that.
So that's how we ended up with July, and I picked the 5th date. There's 5 people in our family. My birthday's the 5th. His birthday's the 5th. So we picked the 5th, and we just went with it.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I need to get some matching numbers or something in my life because everything is all over the place. I love the pattern. When I think of you having the power to say, I still do, and if somebody was asking me what it would take to say I still do, I look at myself as still a newlywed. I'm just 6 years in. It feels like 15, 20, but not because I'm not because I'm not happy. It just life happens.
Yeah.
And it feels like we've been married for a very long time, but baby, we've only been married going on 6 years. But when I think about the power of us, I still do. This is what I say, and I want you to echo the sentiments or tell me what it meant to you. So in order to keep your I still do, I never not tell my husband I love him. I think the words I love you are very, very important. Actions do speak louder than words, but sometimes they need to hear I love you. Just recently, my husband, I sent him a text message, and I told him how wonderful he is, how much I love him, how much I admire him for every yes that he's ever given, even when the yes was a struggle. And let me tell you something. He knocked me off my feet. He responded and said, baby, will you marry me? I was like, get out of here. I'm on my way home. I think it's powerful to often remind your mate what you mean to them. We assume because I'm still here, you already know how I feel. Right. But in actuality, I need to hear it. It's encouragement. It's inspiration. I also believe that in marriages, disappointment takes place. And the power of your I still do means that you don't harbor disappointments.
Yes. Yeah. You have to grow through it.
You have to grow through it. That was very well said.
And we just had this conversation. She and I just had this conversation the other day. I think that it's important to be transparent about your struggles without revealing all of your business. Because it's my responsibility to protect my husband and protect our marriage as equally as it is his. But I do believe that there is a great power in sharing your truth.
Yes.
Because you don't want other women, other men, other couples out there to think that they're alone in this.
Absolutely.
I never want anybody to look at us and say, you guys have been together 27 years, married 20. # couple goals. No goals. Be your own goals.
Be your own
no
goals.
No goals.
The power is, you used to always see # power couple. The power is what can you get out of your own union?
Out of your own, because everybody's situation is different. Like I was listening to you say, it's very important for you to, tell your husband that you love him. And I know that's important for you. That's your love language. And it's funny because for my husband, when we rank, and we do that love language test all the time. His is always consistent. Mine changes. Words of affirmation is not important to him. But yet I still say to him, you're doing a great job, taking care of the house. But that's not what's important to him. He's like, no, I don't want you rolling your eyes at me when I'm telling you something you don't want to hear. That's what's important to me. Or physical touch, and for me, I am not big on public shows of affection. So back up, but when we came back from Paris on a Monday. Wednesday, we were sitting in with Pastor Battle at the marriage conference. And I felt that was important to keep the momentum going.
That's good.
And we sat and talked for 2 hours, which is something that he really doesn't do a lot of. And I found out that he's like, no, physical touch, affection, those things are very important to me. So I was like, okay, well, I'll try. I'll give you something.
Yes, come on, keep that love alive, honey. Listen, for you to get a man to tell you what it is that he wants and you ignore it, it means that you didn't think that his words mattered.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I like that. You have to listen to a black man.
Nicole, let me tell you
He
something.
doesn't often speak.
That
And
is
when
the
he
truth.
does, you should listen.
Yeah, that's not my case, but
Well,
for most people,
know.
yeah.
You're married to a pastor. So that's cheating.
Let me tell you something. He has no. He not only is he a pastor, he's a psychologist, so he has no
So you
problem
double cheating.
with using all his words. I'm like, baby, I'm tapping out right now. I'm tapping out.
See, mine, he shuts down. Which for me, like younger me, I appreciate that in him because I can be combative. So I needed that type of person to give me that balance and that chill. But as I got older and matured and learned how to use my words more effectively, I'm like, all right, now you got to give me something because old me's at the back door.
Yes,
Like, dude,
yes.
you got to give me something. So like you said, you don't end up with the same person that you initially married, even if it's the same person, because you're changing, you're growing, you're evolving, but the key is to do it together.
The key
and to
is-
recognize the other person's change and appreciate it.
Absolutely. As you can see, Mika and I are sharing, Nicole, we're sharing our life and our uniqueness. No marriage is the same. While the result may be the absolute same, we want happiness, we want marital bliss. The result is the same, but the process to get there is not the same. And you can never mirror or model anybody else's marriage and try to recreate it within your own. Find the uniqueness in your own union and bring the best of your uniqueness out. That's the goal. Now, Nicole, you were a part of this holy matrimony moment.
Yes, I was. And it was such an exciting adventure for me.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Paris wasn't high on my list, but I knew how important that it was for us as girlfriends, and I knew how important it was for Mika and Sean. And at the end of the day, I felt like I probably got the most out of it because I got to witness their love when they oftentimes don't show it.
Yes.
You know that they love each other, but all of those signs of affection are not necessarily
Because
there.
they were really lovey-dovey in
I'm
those
trying
pictures.
to tell
Yes.
you, and all of it was so real. It was so heartwarming. I think we were there for 7 days. I cried 5. Just because I was just watching them, and it was so inspirational to see a young couple after 20 years renewing their vows and still having genuine love for one another. It didn't seem it was so genuine that it just brought me to tears. And to see Sean loving Mika, and for Mika to actually show her love for Sean.
Yes. Come on, new beginnings.
Yes, Paris, bring it on. I'm coming back to Paris.
Yes. I love that. And listen, that's inspiration. That's signs of growth. That's signs of you and not being afraid to be somebody else, even for Sean. Yeah. That's so good. Now there is a story attached to your presence there.
Which one?
What, Mika?
Yeah, so when we went to Vegas, it was just us. I had no bridesmaids, no group of anybody. It was just us.
I heard her 3 times when she
So,
said it,
yes.
all by herself. Nobody there.
So when we initially said we were going to do it at 10 years, never happened because God gave us a son. So then I said 20 years, but I didn't want to do it with just us. I had to have people that I feel like help me stay the course.
Yes.
And so we were all excited. We've been planning this trip for a year. And then about 4 days before our plane was scheduled to leave, Nicole had a death in her family. Her husband's father passed away.
Yep.
And so when she sent me that message, I started crying, and I'm telling Sean, like, oh my gosh, like I can't be like, oh my gosh, you can't go, because that's her husband. But it's not going to be the same for me either. But it's life, and that's part of adulting. So I was like, well, we'll see if we can, get your plane ticket refunded, or whatever. We'll fix it. We'll work it out. Maybe when we come back, we'll do a dinner. And she said, no, he said to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. He, without batting an eye, he said that for all that Mika has done for us as a couple, you have to go.
That is amazing.
He said, you have to go. He said, I'm going to be fine, So our children went, and family went, my parents. So he still had a support system. I wasn't there for him, but I knew that I was where he wanted me to be that day.
That's so good.
Yeah, it was really special.
When Mika told me your story, I mean, it brought me to tears. And I said that's love is an action word, and that's love in action. You don't find friends who are willing to make such a major sacrifice like that often. And when you do, I was like, it shouldn't be silenced. It should be publicly acknowledged. So like, I am so non-traditional. I do things at probably the worst moment ever. So that I'm not gonna break my mold. So I'm gonna do that. When she shared me your story, I said, I want to honor her for being so great. So today on the Lady Nakia Wright Show, we always doing something different. I want to present to you a Love Beyond Words Award. And we're presenting that to you. It's a recognition of the type of love, consistent exhibition of friendship, and autistic sisterhood that inspires one to live a life revived, refined, and reimagined. Thank you for loving her so loudly and so boldly.
This is just really, really special. Yes. But the irony of this is that Mika makes an effort to always love other people in her way.
Yes.
And she doesn't make a big deal about herself. Just like her wedding, she just did it with her and Sean. It wasn't the pomp and circumstance. It was just her way. And this was the one time that she was going to share, and I was like, "There's no way
that you're going to miss it.
That I could miss that." And I thank you so much for this.
You're welcome.
It's really, really special.
And of course, Mika always has to have the last word.
Exactly.
So this is actually a gift for Mika as a little small token of her thank you for showing up at a time when you were the most vulnerable, but you wanted to be there for her. And
do I do like you and open it when I get home?
nope, you got to open it in front of everybody. Come on down. These are the girly moments, the impromptu girly moments on the Lady Nakia Wright Show.
Wow, this is so special.
Mika
So
gave her
unexpected.
if you're just joining us, Mika Woods, our co-host for the evening, just renewed her vows in Paris, and her girlfriend Nicole had a death in her family 4 days before they were supposed to leave, and her husband, great man of God, Lord bless every part of his life, coming and going, told her to be there, and she was there, and Mika is just showing her a token of her love and appreciation for being there for her. Isn't that
This
fabulous?
is my best travel friend.
Yeah.
Do you see what those are?
This is so beautiful. So, can I see them?
Those are luggage tags
yes,
from
for the places that we've been.
our very first trip that we ever took out of the country. The very first trip that we took as couples,
Yes.
and then one from our trip to Paris.
Oh, that
This
is so
is
thoughtful.
nice,
I
isn't
love
it?
that.
See what I mean? This is
Yes.
so how can you miss it?
How can you miss it? So girls, my dream team, when I reinvent this gift, act like y'all seen it for the very first time, because I am taking this idea. That is so good.
Oh, that's so special. Thank you guys so much.
I have learned, me like you, I do share the truth that my husband and I go through in my heart of hearts, hoping to be the flawed vessel that somebody else would see, that will come behind me and not make the same mistakes that I make.
Yeah.
So I share my truth in hopes that it would inspire and help somebody else to be greater. However, I don't expose my husband or my, I don't
Correct.
expose the very little things that I do, because I'm just as close as perfect as you can get. And since I got the mic, can't nobody say it different. But yes, and Nicole being here is the sentiment of the importance of having a tribe around
Yes.
you that not only honors your covenant, but respect it.
Yes, that's very important to me.
Listen, it is very hard to be in a tribe of people who are unhappily married, and you and their emotions and their feelings not rub off on you in some sort of way. So being around someone who inspires you to be greater is very, very important.
It is. Just one more thing I wanted to say was that in that moment, I really thought it was about me and my husband. I really did, And then to get this, later, and then for you to appreciate what was done, which I thought was just automatic, is what makes it so much more special. Because I think I was just doing what a friend's supposed to do. You're not supposed to get a pat on the back for that.
Amen.
And I didn't know that it meant that much to you, so I appreciate it.
Aw. Y'all know I'm real sensitive right through here. yes.
I'm sorry.
No, Nicole, now you being there, witnessing the vow renewal, and you shared how much they were in love and, very vocal about it. When you take a takeaway from what you can take from that moment and bring home to your own covenant, what would that be?
Honestly, I would take away that you can't give up, because you just honestly don't know how you're going to feel tomorrow when you wake up. You could go home today and have maybe the worst argument or disagreement. This isn't going to work. But tomorrow you just wake up with a brand new set of eyes and a new outlook on the marriage, the relationship, and most of all, the friendship.
That's so good. When you approach marriage as in there's no way out of this,
Right.
and I believe that happiness is a choice, that we're two flawed individuals that made a choice to merge our hearts and our lives as one. And as flawed individuals, you have to give the other heart flexibility to make mistakes, to not always choose the way you would have hoped that they chose. But I believe that there's power in the stick-to-itiveness of your choices. I believe that if you don't give up, God will give you an overwhelming blessing that you don't even have room enough to receive. That not only will you need an answer, you will be an answer. And listen, marriage is not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not.
But it's one of the greatest things that could ever take place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say that it works. It's hard work, but it works. And one of the things, is we openly, our girlfriends, we openly talk about marriage, relationships, the struggles and the triumphs. And I think that one of the most important things to understand is that when you decide to be someone's wife or husband, remember that you are their partner, not their parent.
Yes.
So you can't tell them what to do. You can't change people. You can only change yourself and the way that you react to their actions. And then hopefully they'll see that change and that growth in you, and then they want to raise the bar.
That's good.
And I think, that's what happened with us through the years. There's been highs and lows. But I think that when I look back on it, I wouldn't change it. Even the not so good days, I wouldn't change it because it helped create character.
It's good.
For our relationship.
It
and it
strengthens
helps
it.
to define not only who we are together, but who we are as individuals. I couldn't have picked a better person for myself because he is not afraid to put the mirror in front of my face if I'm doing something or saying something or thinking something that's not necessarily who I want to be. He's not afraid to check me.
good.
Like what's her name? Sheree. She's like, who's gonna check me, boo? He checks me.
Listen, and we need it. Let me tell you something, because we are emotional beings.
Yes.
And if you give us a little leeway, let me tell you something. Don't give me a little bit. I'm going all the way because I don't do anything halfway.
Yeah.
One of the things that I learned in marriage is you don't enter a marriage looking at what it is your spouse can do for you. One of the greatest things that you can do when entering into marriage is, what can I offer? And what is the purpose of our union? When you are clear on what your purpose is for being with the person you chose, you find a level of commitment you never knew was there. Because anything that you do without purpose, well, it's almost like self-destruction. You're just going someplace blindly. But attach purpose to your covenant, and it'll always give you a reason to stay there.
Yeah.
It will.
Yeah. I feel like I live the true life of that meme where it says, I want somebody to tell me to shut up. I'm not going to do it. But I still want you to say it. So I feel like that's what we live. And I know that through the parish trip, what I was looking for him to say or do at times, I found it in that one gesture.
Amen.
And that one gesture, I said, oh, wow, he's really feeling me right now.
Wait a minute.
And so being, newlywed, sort of, 2 years.
I'm 6 years in. I'm still a newlywed.
Learn one
Find your
another.
way, yeah.
And that right there meant, to me.
And it's funny when you just said when you get married and you choose that person. It's funny that you use that language, because that's what I say to her all the time. You picked him. You picked him. So we're in. We're in.
That's it.
We're in.
Yes.
It's it.
Yeah.
And this is what I say often is, when you hear people, talking about their past relationships in such a negative way, you'll never hear me say anything like that, because I chose them. That talks about my character and my integrity for the fact that I chose them.
Yeah.
The one thing that I was going to ask you about, Mika, is you said something that was key. I believe that God gives us the mate that was perfectly designed just for us. If your mate is not designed for you, then maybe God didn't pick him. Maybe you did.
Yeah.
But when God gives you a mate that's perfectly defined for you, and you find out what your mate's love language is. You said something that I wrote down, as a matter of fact. Men are so consistent. The only two things that they really need is to be respected and understood. Now, us, it would depend on what day of the month it is. What's going on in my life, whether the babies is toddlers or teenagers. And listen, having the flexibility, having a man that's flexible with your emotions. My husband and I just had a conversation today, and he said, baby, you so loving during the day. I mean, baby, during the day, you are so loving. But at night, honey, and I couldn't even be like, baby, what are you talking about? I knew that he was correct.
Telling the truth,
And I said, babe, you know what? I'm going to work on it. He was like, no, I didn't tell you that to change. I said, the fact that you mentioned it to me is something that I have to work on. I don't care if you told me 1,000 times, baby. I know I'm a little grouchy when the sun sets. And I need to work on that. But the fact that you have somebody that's willing to acknowledge the areas where you need strength in, and you said that he said that too.
Yeah, he'll say, you don't know how to talk to people. Not him, just people. He's like, it's your tone, your body language. I'm like, I don't mean anything by it. He's like, you don't even realize what your face is doing, when you're talking.
This is why Sharmy and Laura are behind the scenes, because my face, y'all watch Sharmy. I shouldn't be telling y'all this, even in church. So my face says so much, and I know that my face is not supposed to be doing. Sharmy go like this. So when y'all see Sharmy do like this, my face not right.
Yeah, but
so that is the truth.
Like you said, when you have that person that's your safe space, and you feel like you can be your authentic self, you're okay in receiving that, because it helps you in other relationships.
Yes.
And that's why I think that the stronger that I got in my marriage, the stronger and better friend I had become. Because our relationship is rooted in friendship.
Yes.
And so in order for my husband to look at me and say, she's a really good friend, it can't just stop there. If it's going to be authentic, it has to extend,
Absolutely.
to every branch. And so I think that that's one of the many things that I've taken away from the past 27 years of knowing him. Is helping me to recognize where I can be stronger and where I need to be more mature.
Your partner is supposed to bring out
Yeah.
the best of you.
Yeah.
And in marriages, you have to be willing to be open for constructive criticism. It may not always feel good, but your marriage is your safe place. The person that's closest to you can see things that other people cannot see. They can share things that other people cannot share. And if you attack them for their truth, then they may not be so willing to tell you their truth. And if they have the desire to share truth, they're going to share it with somebody, whether it's you or somebody else. So
Right.
posture yourself that there is a nobody else. As you know, I'm married to a pastor, and I don't subscribe to the title First Lady. That's just not who I am. You call me a new age wife. I don't subscribe to it, because if there's a second lady, y'all gonna be reading about me on the front page of the Washington Post.
Only lady.
So listen, I believe that you speak life to things in your
Yes.
life,
Yeah.
and I words mean a lot to me. Words matter, and there's some things you just can't speak over me. I don't mind you calling me Lady Wright, which is most people call me, but First Lady, don't be
Yeah.
offended. But I'd be like, I don't.
I believe in that your words have power, and I also am very big on energy.
Yes.
Because my husband teases all the time, because when I met him, I was 18. I had just turned 18.
Wow.
And I remember telling my sister who introduced us, I said, I think he want to marry me. And she was like, girl, like, you don't even like that boy like that. You don't even know him. And now look, but the funny thing is, he'll say to me all the time, I don't ever even recall asking you to be my girlfriend. I just looked up one day and you was living in my house.
If Bishop Wright was here, he would say the same thing. To this day, that man has not asked me to marry him. He was like, look who I am. She wasn't going to tell me no.
I asked you the other day, you got to hold on to that. He just asked you. You gotta
Baby,
write that
I'm
date in your
sorry. You
calendar.
just asked to marry me for the very first time.
And that's the same thing. And people
Yes.
always go, well, how'd you guys get married? I'm like, well, everything was backwards. We had a kid, bought a house, and I was like, what's next? I guess we need to have the same last name so everybody can be in unison.
So I can pick the kids up from school without having my ID.
But when we were preparing for Paris, and I gave him his little vow book, and I'm like, you need to write your vows. I'm thinking that we're going to base them on music themes, so you do your thing, and I'll do mine. Leading up to it, I'm like, are you writing? And he's like, no. He's like, I really have to write them? Like, you're not going to write them? How am I tell me how you... I said to him, how am I going to tell me what you feel about me? And he's like, you bossy. And I said, I'm not doing it. So if you stand up there and you have nothing and you speak from the hip, that's what's going to happen, because I'm not doing it.
How did
and
you
he
do,
wrote them,
Mika?
and he actually did a really good job.
Yes.
I was very surprised.
And she was smiling from ear to
know that's
ear
right.
the entire time. Meanwhile, I'm crying.
Because he shocked me.
Yeah.
Because I was like you can do
Come
things.
on, Mr. Woods. You better
And he
keep on
had
shocking
moves,
her.
too, to certain, lines,
I love that. So let me tell you something. Marriage is possible. After years and years, I still do is the most powerful thing that you can say to your mate. Give them the flexibility to be. Constantly show them that you love them. Tell them if that's what your love language is, if that's what your husband likes. Remind him, for me, I will always tell my husband that he's the king. He's my protector. He's my safe place. He's the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because men have egos. They have to be, you're not lying. You're just reminding them, and it's necessary. And not doing it the same way every time. I might write it on the mirror, or the other day I was so corny. I know my husband was having a bad day, and I wrote it on the I wrote a little note on the napkin and sat it at the table. When I set his table, yes, I fixed his plate and set his table. That's my king. And so just finding oh, nope.
It's on live TV.
Listen, I didn't even use paper plates. I was serious about this. He got a real plate. Just reminding them how much they're needed and how necessary they are. And not always telling them what you need, but showing them that they are needed and necessary.
I agree.
Yes.
agree.
So listen, if you are listening and you're tuning in, place your thoughts and your opinions of the things that you do to keep your I Still Do alive. And let me tell you something. We are a village. We are a community. And together, I believe that marriages matter. And if you share your stories, if you share your success stories and your failures, we can lessen this divorce rate. Listen, divorce should not be an option. it takes work. Like I said, it takes stick-to-itiveness, and it takes somebody who's made a lot of mistakes to help you, to show you that it is possible, and that I still do happily. Listen, it's the way that we're supposed to live, but it is a choice.
Yes.
You have to choose happiness. You have to choose a covenant that won't break. You have to choose to commit to your marriage and make it work every day. It's not in a once in a blue moon something. No, you have to. Every day we are given new mercies. We're giving the Lord gives us loads of benefits every day to make our days successful. And you have to share that with your mate. You have to invest in their heart. You have to invest in their dreams. You have to invest in your I do. It is not an automatic. And in marriage, your presence is not enough.
Yeah.
I really like that line, invest in your I do. I like that.
Yes. Hashtag invest in your I do. Yes, if y'all use it, send me a cash app. Yeah, so listen, as a community, let's share our success stories. Let's live loudly. If you live loud, I just believe that you inspire people who say, oh, I will never give another man another chance. Don't ever have that mindset. Just because one man didn't know your value or your worth does not mean that the next man won't. Don't ever give up on love. Love is one of the greatest emotions that anybody could ever imagine. Don't ever give up on it. And listen, don't let it break you. Let it make you.
Yeah.
I believe that. This has been a great moment. I believe that this is a perfect segue into August the 1st, the 8th month of the year, the month of new beginnings. If you are married, if you're thinking about being married, listen, go after love with everything that you have. Set goals for your love. Set goals for yourself. Don't always look at your partner, at what your partner can do to make your union successful. Find out what you can do in your union to make it successful. When you make the choice, I believe love is contagious. Your partner will get on the bandwagon and be a part of the moment, and the journey will be greater. That's Mika, if you had some parting words for our Listen Vision audience, what would you share?
Regarding I still do. I think that what you just shared about new beginnings sums it up, because that's kind of how I feel, where it's like we renewed our vows at year 20, but it feels like a fresh start. Yes. Because we're going into it with a new pair of eyes, looking at each other differently. I think that it's also very important not to penalize someone for things that happen in their past or your own.
Amen.
And I say that whether it's the person that you've been with and you guys have worked through challenges and hiccups, or if this is a new person and it's your fresh start, you can't put past bad energies on this new person because they didn't do it. They didn't hurt you. So I think that it's just very important to see people with fresh eyes.
Amen.
Because when you remove all of the cloudiness, that's when you're able to see the sun.
That's good. Yeah. Nicole?
Being the newbie on the...
Come on, newbie on the block.
on the block and in marriage. I just want to say to all of your listeners that if you're married and you have a testimony and you've gone through things, don't be afraid to share with your friends and those that you really care about, because it will be more meaningful than you can ever imagine.
That's good.
You just really don't know what someone else's takeaway would be from your struggles and even from some of your triumphs. You just don't know. And so don't be afraid to share them, because it could lead to a successful marriage for someone else.
That's very good. I'm just simply going to say, pray more than you complain. Listen, prayer is powerful. Prayer is a silent weapon that's extremely powerful. So again, I say to everyone that's listening, if you're still doing, if you're just doing, if you want to do, pray more than you complain. You will reap great benefits if that's your motto. On behalf of myself, Mika and Nicole, thank you so very much for tuning in to the Lady Nakia Wright Show, A Life Reimagined. We look forward to coming to you each and every Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. Remember, August is the month of new beginnings. Set your goals and start your new beginning today. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
I want to start off this moment with two things. First, I want to let y'all look at me, and you're looking at the host of the Lady Nakia Wright